Here's how to build an in-depth content model that will drive your SEO. Hi everybody, Eric Enge here. I'm the principal of the Digital Marketing Solutions Business Unit at Perficient. And today I'm going to talk to you about how you can use an in-depth content model to really drive strong growth for your SEO. So the discussion begins back in March of 2018 when Google began the series of core algorithm updates that we've gotten used to, 5 or 6 of these that they're doing a year now. And what we've learned through the time since then is that the focus of these updates is, of course, they're always adjusting many different things, but the core focus seems to be on better understanding user intent and better matching up the right websites and web pages to serve that user intent. And if you think about it for a moment, someone types in a 2, 3, or even 4-word search query, it's not really a lot of information about what they're looking for. I mean, obviously, they can give us some pretty direct information, but there's always these detailed things that the user really cares about that don't show up in the query. So what we learned also in the process is that sites that published in-depth amounts of content have done extraordinarily well through these updates and seen a lot of traffic growth, assuming, of course, that the content was of a high quality. But that leads us to the question, right, which is how broad and how deep do we go with our content? And the answer is, well, first of all, as deep as possible and as broad as you can afford. And I'm going to explain as we go on through today's episode. So the one thing that has become really clear, though, is if you've based your SEO strategy for content around the notion of publishing content on all the high volume keywords, you're pursuing a flawed strategy. That's no longer good enough. Google wants people who produce sites, or they want to reward sites that produce content that address a broad array of user needs, not just have some lip service paid to talking about the highest volume search terms. And getting an understanding of how this impacts your strategy is really, really important. Basically, we have to start thinking about things which are not the high volume keywords and what are the other aspects that users are thinking about and wanting to know about. So I actually want to just share a case study with you at this point of a B2B player that we work with, a client of ours. We've been working with them over a number of years, producing on average 10 pieces of content for them. And you can see on the chart that you're looking on the screen right now that they're getting crazy, really strong ongoing growth for their SEO. They keep upping their investment with us over time. The program is working so well. So this is the kind of thing that I want to help you try to be able to achieve for yourselves. So let's just take a look for a moment now at this graphic, which shows a pyramid of terms based around the concept of searching for a car, Ford Focus in this case. And if you look at it, somebody enters the query Ford Focus. What do they really want? Well, it turns out it could be many different things. First of all, you have to ask yourself, do they want the electric car, the hatchback, a regular sedan, these kinds of things? That's kind of obvious. But then if they want new or used is another question. If it's a used car, you have to care about the year in which it was made or the mileage that's on the car, and that's sort of the next layer of concern. And then past that, it's like, okay, do I want the aluminum wheels? Do I want the heated seats? Do I want the heated steering wheel? What about rear heated seats? Moonroof, sunroof? And actually, before a user makes a final decision, they actually care about all those things. And so your content needs to go much deeper, regardless of your topic area, to make sure that you're addressing the more detailed needs that people have. And this is really one of the big keys to driving your SEO success here. So having said that, though, how do I get at this kind of information and how do I do the research? Well, here's some of the things to think about. If you have persona models developed and you've done customer journey mapping, that's awesome. You can leverage that information just to learn a lot about your target prospects and how they're thinking and what they're looking for. If you don't have that, and even if you do have that, talk to customers, talk to prospects, survey site visitors, talk to your product marketing people, try to truly understand the needs hierarchy of the users coming to your site. Get well beyond those high volume search terms and dig down into the lower level details, and now start thinking about producing content to address each of those more individual details. So with that kind of model in mind, the next question is, how deep really is deep enough? And how do I know when I've produced enough content? And my guess is it's probably much bigger, broader, and deeper project than you would instinctively think. So if you have 20 head terms, say, for your business, this might mean you need 200 pieces of content. And I'm not even sure the multiplier of 10 that I use there is enough. So it might even need to be more than that. But the key thing is you have to get this culture in mind of getting really in depth with your content, addressing those more specific needs, dedicating potentially full articles to them. By the way, some of those individual needs might have little to no search volume, but Google's looking for this. They're looking for your ability to address a higher percentage of visitors than the competing site that you're trying to outrank in the search results. And the more that you can do that, the better off you'll be in your overall SEO strategy. So let me wrap up with just one more quick case study. Second client that I want to share with you, also doing about 10 pieces of content a month. This is more a B2C play. And you see a curve that looks very similar to the past one I showed you earlier in this episode. We've seen this over and over and over again. The commitment to publishing content brings great results. So that's all for today's episode of Here's Why. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and click on the subscribe button below so you won't miss any future episodes. Thanks.